Hello, East Texas, and hello to everyone watching from wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the season of Advent, this wonderful season of preparation for the birth of Christ, which is now just a few weeks away. I have been thinking a lot about our sermon from last Sunday, that message of darkness and light. And it called me back to trips that I've made to Alaska in the past. It's not easy to get to Alaska, but it is a beautiful, beautiful state. Well worth the trip because once you do get there, the beauty is staggering. Yet I couldn't live there, not because of the cold. That wouldn't be a problem for me. It would be the darkness. Do you know that in Anchorage in the winter, the sun doesn't come out till about 10:15 in the morning and sets at 3:45 in the afternoon? In Barrow, Alaska, which is in the northernmost part of the state, there are 67 days of total darkness. Yes, the sun slips behind the horizon in about mid-November and doesn't come even out at all again until the middle of January. I was really mesmerized by a story I read recently about a small remote village in Alaska where late at night in the darkness, the townspeople heard a small plane that kept circling overhead. They went to their local runway and realized that the landing lights, which normally could be turned on remotely by a pilot if the office wasn't manned, the landing lights had been damaged by vandalism. They knew the plane trying to come into their community was coming to rescue a young girl who had a serious medical problem. So the townspeople all gathered together, got their four-wheelers and their trucks and their cars. They lined up along that small runway, and that plane was able to land and able to take that young girl to the hospital. And the good news is that she was able to recover and later return home. Darkness and light. It's such a theme in the Bible. And I was thinking about the fact that there are some people who don't ever find the light of Christ unless they find it in dark times, in dark places, in things that are going wrong in their lives. There are other people that don't find the light of God shine into their lives until much later in their lives. Either way, it is God who turns on that light for us. If we open our eyes to see it, it can be a remarkable, remarkable thing. Take the thief on the cross who was dying next to Jesus as they hung in their last moments of life. The thief looked over at Jesus and said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus looked at him and said, "Today, my son, you will be with me in paradise." It's such a lovely story of a true deathbed confession. And it gives us hope that it doesn't matter when we receive the love of Christ, it's that we do receive it. Then I love the story of Saul and his conversion on the road to Damascus. Saul became Paul later after that light of Christ struck him off his horse as he was on his way to persecute and murder Jews. Yes, that light probably was what blinded Paul, but it was that internal light of Christ that changed his life and turned him into an advocate for all people to believe in the true Savior who had come to save us all. Now, this is a story. All of these stories remind us that it is the spiritual light of Christ turned on by God himself that absolutely changes us. And that's what happened to Peter Hitchens. Peter Hitchens is a well-known atheist in England. His brother Christopher Hitchens is probably the most well-known atheist here in the United States. In fact, Peter, when he was young, burned a Bible at age 15 to show his disbelief in any kind of religion or God at all. Later, as Peter's career advanced and he was involved in politics and ambition, he had a light-changing moment when he went to a holiday choral society and a Christmas song spoke to his heart. His life was instantly changed in that moment when Jesus poured into that dark space in his heart. Peter went on to say how at that moment he turned to his fiancée and expressed that he no longer wanted to have a civil marriage. He needed to be married in a church so that Christ could be involved in their relationship from the moment they took their vows. His light was changed by Jesus. In the darkness, sometimes it is when we rediscover Christmas. It is in the darkness, the later times in our life, that sometimes we find the light and love of God. Now, I would guess that most of you that are watching this today already walk in the light of Christ. But don't take your eyes off those droplets of grace that are falling all around you right now, that are exploding in light before your very eyes. Keep your eyes open for those around you that are missing those droplets of grace so that they too can be exposed to the light at this time of year. I hope you'll join us this Sunday at 10:50. We'll be, of course, as we always are, on Facebook Live. And this Wednesday, we'll be announcing whether the church would be open again, which we are hoping and praying it will, as we watch our community numbers and keep our plans focused on doing no harm, if at all possible. God bless you, and I pray the light of the world remains on you this holiday Christmas. God bless you.